I think that's what for the first time in 28 years I want to do right. My son's getting older. I'm in a serious relationship, and my my girl, she's at a point where like she's stable in her career. Like she had like she's good. And then, I got a son growing up and I was just sitting back and just like looking at finances, looking at like where I am in life. And I was like, dang, bro, I am not like where I wanted to be. And like I beat myself up like to like depression. Like I want to be a good husband one day and I want to be a good for my son. And I started thinking about all the things that I want to do in life and like just like financially, I just felt like I'm not where I want to be. And so looking at y'all, cause like I look up to all y'all, man. And so that's why I was just like, okay, let me see if how I'm feeling is normal. Because as a man, it's like I feel like I can't talk to like a lot of people about this because it's like when it comes to finances, I feel like it's embarrassing. Like at 28 years old, I feel like it's embarrassing to open up about like just about everything. And it was hard for me to come to y'all about that, but after talking to y'all, it really like made me have a better insight. But it's still challenging, man. Just being a teacher and we get paid once. You already know how that goes. And like the rest of my friends, they're going on with their lives. Man, I got friends in the NFL. I got friends that are lawyers. I got friends in this and there. And then there's Nick. Because when I had a child, man, I had to give up a lot. And that's me having a child and still to this day it's still one of the most challenging things of my life. I got to do for my girl. I got to pay all this for my son, and I'm just like, bro, at what pinpoint am I going to feel like I'm successful in my life? And like right now, I just feel like I'm still grinding.
Nick, let me ask you this: what prompted that change? Because I'll say this just to give some meat to the question. I've known you for almost 3 years now, and something seems different about where you are now.
For the first time in my life, I feel like I've met a girl that truly cares about me, that truly motivates me, that truly understands me, and that accepts me for me. Because I ain't gonna lie, like I'm hard to deal with. I come with a lot of baggage and childhood trauma, and I'm stuck in my past a lot. And so me meeting a girl that's now, she's a year older than me, but she's mature, man. Like, and I ain't gonna lie, like I'm with like as far as relationship wise, I'm as happy as I've ever been. And she just put a lot of things in perspective of me of like, man, I gotta get it. Like I gotta, if I wanna, she makes me work hard, man. And my son's growing up, and he's been diagnosed with autism, and so he has a lot of challenges in school. Right now he's in and out of trouble, been suspended from school. He's now on his way to, they got him at a pathway school for kids like him because he's having so much trouble in school that he's not even progressing like he needs to be. And so, man, like when I think of things like that, like he's gonna need me. And the things that I was doing, whether that was smoking all the time or whether that's drinking all the time, thinking like that's something that's helping me in life. Now that I'm 5 days clean, I'm back in church. I'm in a happy relationship. I realized for a very long time, and I've been lost. I've realized I've been lost for a very, very long time. Even when I thought I was strong, like I'm a strong individual. I hold a lot of weight on me, and if you see me most times, I'm like happy, joking. But what people don't realize about me that I probably was depressed. I've been depressed for a long time. I just feel like I just handle it well, and I don't vent or whine about it to people because I'm not a complainer. I feel like I can handle anything, but sometimes it gets tough, man. And so this year, since about I met my girl last May, and ever since I've been with her, I realized that I gotta change because if I don't change my ways, I'm gonna lose her. If I don't change, I'm going to not be the best father that I can be. And those are my two pinpoints of changing right now, man.
How long have y'all been together?
We've been together 7 months.
Okay.
7 months, man. It's like I said, it's been good. Like we talk things out. We pray for each other. We're in church. You know, we work out. We work out together. You know, sometimes we have arguments, and for the first time ever, any girl, like if I do something wrong and I know I'm wrong, I'll go back and say I'm sorry. Like I go back and apologize. I go back and tell her like, hey, I could have handled this situation different, because with a female, it's not about always being right. It's not always about you being a male dominant. And I ain't gonna lie, like that's what I saw a lot growing up. It's just the man always has to be right. The man always has to be this. And like that's why I feel like none of my relationships work. But I realized that by me talking and calming down and acknowledging when I was wrong, I get a better response out of her when we do get into arguments. And that's why I feel like we have a healthy relationship.
Okay.
So.
Gat, what was some of the things you shared with him once y'all went down this path? What was kind of one of the main things you got over to him?
Nick, it was a lot, wasn't it?
Yeah, man, it was a lot.
One of the things that you said that got my attention was like, I don't feel like I'm where I want to be.
Yeah.
And as I shared in our group text, when you said that, like, I felt it when you said that, because I know I still have those thoughts now.
Yeah.
They're not as loud as they were when I was like your age. Mm-hmm. But and I'll be candid here. I know, and Walker, you know this, but like when it came time to like college graduation time, you know, I wasn't graduating with my peers. That put a lot of pressure on me. I'm seeing a lot of my peers go on to do all these great things, and I'm like a year behind. Yeah. Now, of course, you know, I had great support, and I think most of the people that I did open up to about that were like, well, dude, you're like holding down a full-time job and going to school. Like, give yourself a break. But it still planted that seed of doubt with me that said, oh, well, I'm not where I'm supposed to be because I'm not graduating with all the people that I went to high school with. Yeah. So that's the first thing it made me think of. And I wanted to, and I hope I conveyed this on the text, but I wanted to validate those feelings because those are real. I didn't want to minimalize those feelings that you had.
I got you.
But the biggest thing that I took from that is the courage you had to share that, especially in that group dynamic that we have. Yeah, we're some knuckleheads in there.
For sure. Definitely some knuckleheads.
Where do you want to be? I guess there is obviously there's a goal out here. You know where you are. Where is it that you want to be that you feel that you aren't yet?
I just feel like we're in a generation, well, especially like the younger generation. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to have the jewelry and the clothes and the nice cars. And I just want to be in a position to like help people. Like I love help. I love like just helping kids. And I feel like where I want to be one day, I want to have like my own like boys academy, or I just want to be like in like a leadership position to where like I feel like I can make change. My dad always told me if I wanted to make change, I got to be in the position to make change. And right now, being in education, I just don't feel like just being a simple teacher, even with my master's, I just feel like I'm not where I need to be. I just feel like from a financial standpoint, I'm always like, man, I need more money. And I don't know, I feel like I just didn't answer your question. But
no, I think you are.
Yeah,
you are. You good.
But to sum it up, where I want to be, man, I would love to be a principal one day. I would love to be a superintendent one day. And just like how, like I said, have my own like boys academy to where I can help people. Like my goal is not to be rich. I just want to be financially stable to where like I can help people. I feel like that's what God called me on earth, to help people. And right now I feel like I'm not in a position to where I can help people because financially, like I'm barely making financially it's like I got a kid now and I got responsibilities and other things. And I just feel like I'm not in a position to be where I need to be.
Gotcha.
Nick, and if you don't want to go here, it's cool.
No, we good.
Okay. And speaking about your role as a father, I do understand that your son's mother, you and her are not together.
We are not together.
Okay.
At all.
Don't want to spend too much time dwelling on that. But I do feel like it's important for you to share as a man, like as a father, what drives you to still be there for your son despite everything else that's going on.
Man, I'm lucky enough to have my dad in my life, and despite whatever my dad had going on, like in his life personally, or him, whatever he had going on with my mom or whatever, like he was always there for me and my brother. Like I can't remember a time that my dad has not been there. And just my family and all, man, like kids are important. Like we all, like growing up, like in my family, it don't matter if you're together or not, you're gonna be there for your child. And I told myself before I even had a kid, like if I ever had a kid, I'm gonna step up to be the best dad that I can be. Now that's before. Now that my son is born, man, just to see how much, like just to see like the type of impact, just to see how much he loves me and how much he needs me, man. It drives me. Like it saddens me that I can't be there for my son the way that I know I could be, because he's 4 hours away. But I know that if I'm in, I tell people all the time, like men have, it's hard. I can, now that I have a kid, I can understand why a man walks out of his child's life and never goes back, because it's either you can be there and you got to go through hell with his mom, or you can walk away and have that on your conscience for the rest of your life. And both of those options suck. Like there's been plenty of time I'm like, bro, I can't do this no more. But then at the same time, like he needs me. So I go hard for my son, man. Whatever he need, I don't care. I used to be like that. Like when he's 5 now, years 1, 2, and 3, it was almost at least once a week where I'm like, bro, I can't do this no more, because I'm going crazy. Like I'm having thoughts that I shouldn't be having. I can't sleep. I'm depressed. But now, man, like that I'm praying more, that I'm back in church. I don't focus on what I can't control. I just try to focus on the time, like what I can do. So the time that I have with him, I just try to make the most of it, man. But it's definitely challenging. It's definitely challenging. And that's why I tell anybody, man, sex is cool, man, but it's not worth having a kid with somebody that y'all not gonna be together, because you don't have the control. I have no control other than what the court gives me, and that's seeing my son every other week, get him during the summer, got to pay child support, stuff like that. But as far as like main control, I have no control, and that's the tough part about it. It's the tough part about it, man.
Oh. Thank you for sharing that too.
No problem, man.
Yeah, but so your son, your new relationship has really caused you to kind of revisit your life, where you are and where you want to go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned other friends too, that they're doing well. You get a friend in NFL, other people doing great things. Has that also played a fact in you kind of evaluating where you are? Or
yeah, it's not even just. Yeah, I mean, not just I have friends. Like I said, I got friends everywhere. Like the way it worked out was when all of my friends graduated high school, all of my friends scattered out, and I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. All I did in high school, I was focused on girls, drinking, smoking, just enjoying life. And so everybody went to Alabama, Auburn, and I had to settle for going to Troy. I never even wanted to go to Troy. Yeah. So I went to Troy. I went to Troy University. Tried to get the easiest degree I got. So I went criminal justice. So I ended up getting a criminal justice degree and realized as soon as I graduated, I just wasted 4 years of my life. I don't want to do no criminal justice. So then I had to go back to school. In order to teach. So I had to go through this special program through Jacksonville State that allows you to get your teacher certification, but instead of coming out with a bachelor's degree, you come out as a master's. And so even once I got my master's, what was that, last December, I still was depressed, because I still felt like I'm not where I need to be. And so just looking at, I compare myself to like my friend. I got friends working for Microsoft. I got friends working for, big time rappers. I got friends that are lawyers. I got friends that are doctors, and they're they're enjoying their lives, and not just through things I see on social media. It's just like being around them. They're like, $500 ain't nothing, $600 ain't nothing, $700 ain't nothing, $100 something to me. And so it's just like those are the things where I realized that I'm not where I need to be in life, and that's why I'm about to go back to school now. And so I'm about to go back to school and get my EDS and educational leadership. And so honestly, when I get this degree, it'll probably be the first time in my life where I'm like, bro, I can finally do something like that's gonna put me on top and separate me from others. But as far as comparing myself to friends, I can't say like I have done it. Even y'all, even my line brothers. I look at Ronnie. I got Chris and Raymond. All y'all like this, especially like Raymond's a year older than me. Raymond making about 200. Raymond making like
don't put him out. Raymond's gonna come and find me.
Hey, my bad. Hey, we have a line brother that's a year older than me and probably making $150K more than me. But like even things like that, man. I don't compare myself to them. I just know I can be there, but I feel like depression and telling myself that I can't do it. I'll tell people all the time, I got $1 million mindset. But as soon as I try something and I feel like I'm not doing well enough, I just give up, man. And I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities in life because I start something, but I always struggle to finish.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, man?
I want to ask a question. Given that theory you just said, what is it that makes you stop once you get going?
I don't know. I got ADHD, so my mind's always going 1,000 miles per hour. So, like for example, I told y'all I wanted to start an inflatable business. I started the website. I had the whole plan laid out. But then in the midst of, I'm like, man, I need a truck. I need to buy another car. I can't buy no car. I need a shed to put all the inflatables in. I don't have inflatable. I don't have the finances to do a lot of these things, and it scares me to like people like, well, go take out a loan or go. First of all, I don't like asking for help. That's the biggest problem with me. Like if you realize how y'all always ask me, hey Nick, if you need anything, reach out, and I don't reach out. It's like I struggle with asking for help. I guess it's like a pride thing. And then when it comes to like money wise, I'm like, oh well, I can't do that. And so in the midst of me thinking, in the midst of financial reasons, in the midst of me not wanting to ask for help, I just get discouraged easily. But I know I need to get better. I know I need to get better with asking for help, because asking for help is okay. It shouldn't be an embarrassing thing to me, but I've just been so independent for a very long time to where I feel like I can do everything on my own. But the older I get, I realize I can't do it. I cannot do it by myself. And that's okay. Yeah. But it's taking me a long time to realize that, even right now at 28 years old. Yeah. So yeah, man, that's why I give up on a lot of things for that very reason right there.
Nick, we got more questions and we're gonna ping pong back, but like I'm gonna take a moment and applaud you because you got me flashing back to myself. Mm-hmm. Dude, I think I got married at 26 or 27, one of the two. And you talk about a dude that didn't have a clue and a dude that was nowhere near mindset wise where you are. Mm-hmm. So like, considering where you are in your life right now, I have to applaud you on that, because I know for me, if I'd had a piece of that, even the inkling of those thoughts that you're having right now, dude, it could have made a big difference for me. Absolutely. And I also wanted to share that, like, I would encourage you to think about, just because someone may be bankrolling doesn't mean they got it all together. True. You know, it's just like external things can have an impact on others I don't really know. And at that time in my life, as you know, Walker, like from the outside looking in, like Ronnie's handling business, but like Ronnie's identity at that time, hollow. Yeah. You know? So I gotta applaud you for that. And, you know, just thinking about the direction you're headed and all these good things I'm hearing about you, man, like it's encouraging me thinking about the trajectory you have. That's why I want to ask, like, what is it that's stopping you? Because you're getting your mindset dialed in. And once you bind those two, it's going to be dangerous in a good way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. And just to, I told you, I have ADHD. And I think you asked me the question on what made you change. And it just dawned on me on like what really made me change. 2020, I lost my great grandma. 2021, I lost my grandma, who is my dad's mom. And then in 2022, I lost my grandma, which is my mom's mom. And I also lost, I ain't gonna say I lost. Me and my ex broke up right before we got online, which is why when I first met y'all, I was so nonchalant because I had so much going on. And I lost friends and I really hit rock bottom. 2022, I hit rock bottom. I didn't know where to go. I felt alone. I didn't go anywhere. I wasn't talking to anybody. And that was the big change in my life. I'm like I feel like in order to find your purpose, sometimes you really got to hit rock bottom.
Oof.
And that's
a bar.
That's what made me, okay, I gotta stop smoking, but I continued to smoke and my thoughts were clouded. I started back working out again, but I stopped working out again. So my mind, so as you can see, I have not been consistent. That goes back to what you just asked me. That's what makes me stop, is I'm not consistent. I start something, but I cannot finish. I start in the gym, but I'm gonna stop somewhere. I'll stop smoking for a while. Gonna stop somewhere. I stop trying to talk to this girl, having sex, thinking like that's what makes me feel better. Then I realized that doesn't make me feel better. So I'm just going through numerous of things that are allowing me to see what life is. And like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like,
what do you think if we were just brainstorming and we just had to come up with one thing, what would be the one thing that you could do to reverse engineer or correct the stop start?
Asking for help, man. Being consistent and just trusting God and keep telling myself that I can do it and putting a plan to my thoughts. And again, asking for help and not. You said one thing, my bad. I told you I'd be all over the place.
That's all good.
But
You're good.
But you said one thing. I think just trusting myself, just trusting the process. Even if things go wrong, don't just stop and just trust myself. I get discouraged very, 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 very easily. But like I said, now that I'm on day 5 of a good cleanse, it's like my thoughts are clear. I feel like I smoked for a very long time because I felt like I felt depressed. I felt alone, and when I smoked, it cleared everything out. But now that I'm not, I realized how clouded my judgment was, like how up and down my emotions were, how sleepy I was all the time. And now I feel like now that I'm wanting to do better, I can be consistent. Like for me to share that with them the other day, that was huge for me, because like I told you at first, I'm a person that wants to feel like I got it all together, but I don't.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah. So I just need to trust myself, and like I said, I just need to ask for help and be consistent with whatever that I'm trying to do, whether things are going good or bad.
Talk to me, Gat. What are your thoughts about what he said? Just even when you were reading the text messages and y'all were having this discussion.
Well, I mean, first thoughts was I thought Nick's phone got hacked.
Nah,
I'm joking. Nah, I just, it's like I said before, man. I saw a lot of strength come through there because we're not used to getting texts like that from you.
Yeah.
But it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, I was like, man, something's different with this dude. Something's different with my guy. Yeah. You know, and you seem like you're on a different path. You seem like you're pivoting.
I am.
You know what I mean?
I'm praying every day. I journal more now. I'm trying to read more.
So all that stuff I was texting there about journaling, you already were on that.
What's crazy, man, is I like writing poetry.
Okay.
Like I've always been a good poet. It's just through life I've kind of gotten away from it. But I like to write. I actually like to write and sit down, and I realize that sometimes people don't care about what you have to say. So if you journal it and get it all out, I found myself feeling a whole lot better. Like it can be times where like I'm mad at my girlfriend. I want to write her a paragraph, but instead of writing her a paragraph, I write it down. Or if I'm just however I'm feeling, I like to write. I like to write poetry, and like that. Those are the things that I'm doing now. I pray more, and that's what I haven't been doing. My relationship with God in the past, man, has been not good, and I'm not sure of everybody's religion in here, man, but mine, I just feel like any time in life where I have completely disregarded myself with God has been the worst time of my life. And I realized that God doesn't leave us ever. We always leave him. And so literally, man, every morning I tell God to, you know, I'm like to protect my emotions, to protect me mentally, physically, and emotionally. And it's crazy because like the morning times is when I had the most thoughts on my mind. Yeah. And it's crazy how like if I pray in the morning, like man, I'm praying for me and my girlfriend. I ain't never did that. Yeah. Can't nobody ever say, Nick, pray for me. Nah, but like I'm literally like praying and trying to be a better person, and it helps, man. And I'm sorry to get all spiritual, man, but I have to space for that. I have to literally just shout out to God, man, because like that's what's getting me through a lot of stuff is like reconnecting myself with him. And sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. Like sometimes I'm reading my Bible, I don't know what I'm reading, but I realize that I'm being consistent with reading. At least I'm being consistent with trying to read. And if I don't know what something means, I'm looking it up, trying to do something. I'm trying to get myself involved in church. I haven't missed church in weeks.
Oh wow.
Good. And I rewatch the sermon. I try to start my mornings off with listen to gospel. I try not to listen to rap as much. I'm a big rap guy. I don't think I'll ever stop just listening to rap.
Me too.
But it helps when I don't always have that stuff in my mindset. Yeah. And a lot of friends that I've had in the past are no longer my friends. My circle of who I trust in my life is very, very, very small, man. And it made me depressed at first, but like now I realize like if you're not helping me in my life, if you're not somebody that's motivating me or can encourage me or can like I don't need you in my life. And that's okay. It don't mean that I don't like you or hate you. It just means that we on two different paths. And so you ask me like what's changing me, that's what's changed, Ronnie. When you first met me, I was completely depressed. I was the disaster, and I was selfish, and I was going through my own stuff. And I felt like I didn't have nobody. I felt like I was alone. Again, that was when I was going through my darkest times. But I realized I'm only hurting myself. I got a whole group of line brothers who I can always go to. But at the time of me going through what I was going through, I'm like, I'm not finna tell my problems to these guys. I'm not finna do that. But I'm getting better with that though.
So that was going to be my question, is that one of your biggest challenges is that you have a difficulty asking for help. Mm-hmm. Was this step one of you attacking that? Because you texting this, opening up to your line brothers, was you asking for help?
Yeah, essentially asking for help, because the way our lines set up, we're all different like age range. We're all at different points.
More into this age range. So who's the oldest?
I would have to. I'm not gonna say the name, but he might be in the room.
Rhymes with funny.
He might be in the room right now. But I didn't mean to say it like that. But it's all good. But we have a lot of wisdom. We have a lot of wisdom.
I like how you cleaning it up. Go ahead.
We have a lot of wisdom on our line, and I just felt like I'm like, who can I go to like right now? And I just felt like they're all like they're always expressing their feelings with each other. They're always venting to each other or asking for help in some type of way.
Yeah.
And I
never do that.
I just finally got the courage to say, man, like, am I the only one? Like, is it normal to feel lost right now? Is it normal to feel like you're not where you need to be? Because again, like, I don't complain with a lot of people. I can have 100 things going on, and you'll look at me and you'll think I'm fine. Like, you'll think a lot of people that know me think I'm nonchalant or I don't have a heart. I really truly have a big heart. I really like am a very passionate person. It's just like, I don't know, man. I'm just independent. Like I've always been independent. Like my dad's a very independent person. My brother's an independent person, and I just feel like it's carried on to me to where I feel like I got to do everything by myself. But at times I feel like I'm not strong enough. So let me reach out to a group of guys who I know for a fact care about me, because they were there for me at my lowest point. Like they came to my grandma's funeral, and that meant a lot to me because none of my friends who I thought would come to the actual funeral like actually came, but my line brothers were there for me, and they don't know that, but like that was like to see them there, like that it meant a lot to me. Because I don't have right now I don't have a lot of friends. Growing up, I had a lot of friends, but the older I get, everybody started dwindling off. Sure. And so, yeah, it was me asking for help. I needed validation, because at the time, you know how it is with women, man. You don't feel like a woman don't want to hear you. Like they say they care, but like it's hard for a man to feel like that. Hey, I can vent to my girl about everything, especially when it comes to finances. Because when you talk about finances, the first thing they gonna think, oh, he broke. He can't do for me. He can't take care of me, and I don't like feeling like that. But when I reached out to them, it felt like a safe place. And the responses that I got was so encouraging. It literally like made my day better. Because when I was texting them, I really was texting y'all out of being vulnerable for just a second. But it really helped me. Really helped me to see that y'all have struggles at the same age, or hey, I'm continuing to struggle with this, or Chris telling me, hey, like you're not gonna have it all together at this age, and I'm like, okay, so and y'all are, I see y'all as fairly successful guys, whether y'all admit it or not. Like I see y'all as successful guys in y'all's careers and just life, and so to hear y'all say like, hey, like you not alone was big to hear. It was big to hear, very big to hear.
Nick, you're making me think of a conversation I had earlier today with a close friend of mine, and we were attacking that stigma of why men don't open up. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Like, what are your thoughts with that? Man, what would you say if you were in that convo? Is what I should have said. Men
don't open up because we always feel like we got to be the alpha. It's like we always feel like we got to have everything together, and when you're trying to be the man of the house, and then especially when you got kids, like you get pushed to the back, like your feelings and emotions get pushed to the back. So then you feel like I think about my dad, man. In 28 years, I've only seen my dad cry 2 times, but I know that my dad. I know that my dad has
2 times more than my dad.
I know that my dad deals with a lot, and my dad's not one to express how he feels, and that's how I was. And I realized through life, me not talking about how I feel has only made me more angry and built up inside. And I think, especially with black men, man, like that's why I feel like they think we have they call this a mental illness, but in a way, I think that we always are trying to be strong and not be vulnerable because we think it's a sign of weakness. Like being vulnerable to most men is a sign of weakness. Crying about something, if you're talking about your feelings, they might call you the B word, or they might say you acting like a little H. I don't want to cuss on here because I know y'all gonna put this on somewhere, and I don't want to get in trouble by my boss. So I'm just gonna say the letter. Okay. But stop. Those are the things that I heard growing up in life. If I've been it was like, oh, you acting like a little girl, or you stop whining. So throughout life, you grow up, man, with a cold heart, and with a lot on your chest. And honestly, my girl will tell you now, man, like the way I express myself to her now, and the way that I'm being vulnerable, I tell her, like, you the first person to really ever get a vulnerable side of me, because being vulnerable is risky, because if somebody takes advantage of your vulnerability, that's what makes you snap.
100%.
That's what makes you not trust people. That's what makes you, like, all that anger just built up because I trusted you with this, and people run with that. People take your kindness for granted, man. And I think that's why it's hard for us to open up. I think it's just a stigma of just being strong or being tough, and it's not life. Life is not about being tough.
I'm gonna ask you a question, and I'm gonna come back and pose something to you. What were you saying, Gat, with that conversation?
Oh, it's a lot. It's a lot of similarities of what Nic said, but the biggest thing is I don't know where it comes from, but that notion of vulnerability being weakness, it started somewhere, and for generations, it's just permeated manhood.
Well, you gotta think, like, when you think of masculine, you think of men.
Yeah.
So our masculinity is what, regardless of race, regardless of whatever the case, masculinity is something that we have always, have tried to master, if that makes sense. We've always tried to master or reach this level of masculinity where not only do we feel good about ourselves, but we also have the respect of others that we care about, whether it's our family or our peers, whatnot. So being masculine has always been defined as just being hard, right? And you got to think, years ago, I can't reveal that I'm scared to go into the woods to find food because there's a tiger or a lion in that forest waiting on me. I can't, for my survival, lean into that vulnerability. I almost have to shut that part of me off so that I can be, for family, for wife and children, what they need for me to be. And I think as we have migrated over into the modern day, obviously there's more of a conversation, there's more of a dialogue around what we're actually dealing with when we talk about mental health and the anxiety that comes from that, the PTSD that comes from some of the experiences that we've have as men, right? But again, if we have a concept of what masculinity is, and it has served others well, women, children, we receive our respect and validation from this concept of masculinity, then anything outside of that concept may not get rewarded. Yeah. So the problem that men are dealing with is, I would love to be vulnerable, but I don't get the same respect from you that I would get as I would being hard and not showing that side of me, even though I'm dealing with it. Right?
Yeah.
So I think we have to be honest about why men choose not to show that side of them. Because even amongst men, there's a pecking order amongst us. Yep. You alluded to it in so many words because you like, man, my homeboy over here doing this, my homeboy over it. All you're saying is I'm trying to find my place because these dudes are handling their business, which makes you feel almost emasculated that I'm not where I need to be because I'm looking at what everyone is. We do it amongst each other all the time as men. This guy over here, he's a lawyer. This guy over here is a CEO. He's doing this. What am I doing? Right?
Yeah.
These are things that we grapple with as men because at the end of the day, we understand our utility to the world. And our utility has never been to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. That's the challenge. That's the issue. And until we really be honest as a society around the value that men have with being vulnerable, we will continue to struggle being vulnerable. Because hiding it has served us well up to this point, unfortunately, even if it is to our detriment.
True. Yeah, true. And to that point, my friend of mine in the conversation, he said something so profound. He said, think about how easy it is not to be vulnerable. Think about the strength it takes to meet vulnerability where it is and overcome it.
Absolutely.
So like, if there's a strength in that, then there's got to be a fear that's driving us away from it.
Absolutely. I just don't think it gets rewarded.
Right. But his thing was like, how could we call that weakness when it's really, there's a lot of strength involved in vulnerability.
I agree.
Yeah.
The way he put it, I was like, okay.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
Yeah.
So you're here. You've been very transparent about kind of where you are. You reached out to your frat brothers, and obviously, I believe that decision to do that was a decision that you agree was a good decision. Mm-hmm. What questions do you have for us? Because you're here on the tipping point. One of our goals is to help men develop, and be who they're meant to be. So you got questions about where you are. What are some things that you may have been thinking about that you want to bounce off of us?
So, just like how have y'all throughout the years been able to? Because I've heard especially like what Ronnie said, that he has been at a point where I am in life. At what point? What was the drive that gave you like the edge at what point in your life were you finally able to say, hey, I can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel?
Oh my gosh, what a question. It had to have been, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Okay. And at that time, Nick, I'm telling you, man, so many similarities.
Yeah.
My relationship with God was frail.
Yeah.
My self-identity, non-existent. I had been going to therapy at this point, but at that point, I realized I was just going to go.
Yeah.
I wasn't going with any type of goal. And this man right here, anyway, more on that in a minute. but having him as an accountability partner with me, he didn't even ask for that. Like, he volunteered for that. And challenging me like, okay, what are you going for? What are your goals? Are you just going to sit down there and talk?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to be better with? Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever told him this, but like, that started a pivotal shift for me. Because now I start thinking about, like, I'm paying all this money, I'm going routinely like I should. But where do I want to go? What am I going to grab hold of? Yeah. And so that was my tipping point, if I can be cliche. And I remember the therapist that I have now, she's a Black female. I think I've been with her for maybe 2 years now. And during our first consultation, she asked me, she said, what do you want? Mm. And, you know, I didn't know how to answer that. Just slid sheet of paper and write down what you want. Write down what you want. Don't stop writing. And I was just writing simple things. Mm. Let's go get it. And to your point, what she helped me to really put into action was like, you are in control of every step that you take to get what you want. Bro, like, that's the thing with me. The simplest things for me are the most impactful.
Yeah.
Simpler you can make it, I can get behind that.
I got you.
So it was just like, we were working on that list. Okay, what action steps have you done this week to get you closer to this? Okay. Then I found myself out there just saying, you know what? I'm gonna just do it and see what happened. Oh, okay. That didn't work out. Let me try something else. Mm-hmm. Oh, that worked. Let me see what I could do, you know? And like, it just started snowballing. I don't talk about it a lot, Nick, because I'm insecure about it. Yeah. But this digital media business that's growing, like, this started with just something small. Yeah. And then it was just like okay, let me do one more thing. And then like, well, I got a book of clients now. You know, like, where did that come from? I didn't want any of that. I just wanted to do a little bit more of this stuff on the side.
I got you. Yeah,
so,
for sure.
I would just say it was simple, actionable items for me, and me buying in and saying, you know what, regardless of what happens, I'm going to assess what I can control to get me there, and I'm going to keep doing that, and let God handle the rest. Okay.
For me, I think what helped me, I I don't know if I was really struggling like that to feel like I wasn't where, but I knew I wanted more. Okay. You know what I mean? I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be, but I knew I wanted more. I think what helped me, Nick, was understanding that no matter at what stage I am in life, there's really not a finish line. Okay. So there's really no incentive to stop running the race. That makes sense. Okay. So this is going to be a journey for you. So if it's a journey, that means it's not a sprint, right? Mm-hmm. So if I didn't get here at 28, okay, keep running. There's you mentioned you're a man of faith. You're a Christian. Me too. Gotcha. All right. One of the things that I've been thinking about was there's a parable that Jesus taught. And I think if you grew up in church, you're probably familiar with this parable where he talks about a man who went away in a far country and he left 3 men with talents. Mm-hmm. One man had 1 talent, one guy had 2 talents, the other guy had 5 talents, right? And he told them to go with it, do with it, invest it, whatever the case, right? So he comes back. The guy with 5 talents said, "Hey, what did you guys do with what I gave you?" Guy with 5 talents said, "I invested it. I had 5 talents more, total of 10." The guy said, "Well done. Proud of you." What did the 2 talent guy do? "I invested it. Instead of 2 talents, I now got 2 additional. I have a total of 4." Right? Yeah. We know what the guy with the 1 talent did. He went out and buried it. And he mentioned that he was afraid. So I buried it. The guy called him a wicked servant for burying his talent. And he ended up losing the very talent that he was given, and it was given to the one who had 10. And there's so much that I learned from that just in course of life. Regardless of whether you're a Christian, you can be Muslim, you can be Hebrew Israelite, you can be atheist. These are principles, in my opinion, that transcends religion. You can take these principles and work them in business, a sports team, whatever the case may be. I brought up that story, Nick, because I realized in that parable, there's so much that would apply to this conversation when we're talking about where am I supposed to be. I understood that regardless of what servant you are, whether you are 1 talent, 2 talent, 5 talent, everyone has talents. Everyone has a talent. Everyone has a gift. So even, I'm glad you recognize it because you mentioned it early in the conversation. There's something that God has given you. There's something that's on the inside of you. There's an idea, there's an inspiration, there's a skill that you have. And what's so cool about it is in that parable, everyone had different talents. They didn't have the same talent. One guy had 5, one guy had 2, one guy had 1. So there's no need to ever compare yourself with what other people are doing because you have been given a talent I don't have. You got something in you that I don't have. Gat has something in him I don't have. I have something in me that none of you guys have.
Dreads.
That's so weak.
I hope I have more talents than that.
All right, Samson, go ahead.
But you have something that's unique to you. And what was so cold about this parable is that the guy who returned never criticized the guy who had 4 talents because he didn't have 10. He never said, he said well done to him, just like he said well done to the guy who had 10. He never criticized him because he didn't have 6 more. Which tells me we are judged based on our ability to be good stewards of what we've been given. That's the goal and mission in life. Can you take your talents? Can you take your gifts? Can you take your skills? Can you take that idea to start that business? Can you take that idea to become a superintendent? Can you take it and be a good steward over that talent? And again, it's not a sprint, right? What a lot of people do, they do what the one talent person did. Because they were afraid, they went out and buried and sat on their talent and did nothing with it. He didn't even lose the money. Yeah. He just buried it and was called wicked. In other words, we are expected to take these ideas, these God-inspired ideas that we have, and go do something with it. Go multiply it. In fact, that was the first mandate God gave Adam. Be fruitful, multiply. We think of it and we hear kids, which is a part of that, but you're supposed to multiply everything that is given to you because it's given to you in seed form. That idea is a seed. You have to water it. You have to nurture it. You have to tend to it. You have to pull the weeds out. Yeah. And you have to make sure that baby grows until one day you're a superintendent impacting hundreds, thousands of kids. But you have to be a good steward over everything that you've had. The people that we see that are doing well, it's not that they're better than us. It may just be that they were a good steward over what they had. So the inspiration there is these dudes that I came up with can be a good steward. Why can't I? I can be a good steward of my time. I can be a good steward of these ideas. I am in control of this idea. What am I going to do with it? Yep. And that should put the battery in our backs to say, you know what? There's some things that I've been wanting to do. I'm going to push past this fear. I'm going to stick to it. In your case, you've started, but I'm going to stay with it because I truly believe that I can do this. This is in my possession. I have to take care of this vision. I'm not going to give up on this vision because it's been given to me. We don't own anything that we have in this life because when we leave by ourselves. We don't even leave with our bodies. We own nothing. What type of steward will you be when you leave this earth? What kind of steward will we remember you as? Because again, the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, which means that man, when he was on this earth, was a good steward and multiplied everything that he was given so that when he left, his children are in good shape. So that was something that I just thought about, that I just shared, that hopefully you got something.
I did.
From that, because that's what we all deal with. I've stopped doing some stuff. There's some ideas we got for this very podcast that talks to me, right? But for whatever reason, whether it's fear, whatever the case may be, a lack of belief, we stop. But if you realize that I'm still a steward, whether I stop or keep going or do nothing, I'm still a steward. But what kind of steward will I be? Mm-hmm.
I like how you put that. I like how you said that life is not a sprint. Life is a marathon, because that's been a challenge for me, man. I suck at patience. I feel like when I want something, I need it now, or why is it not happening right now in the way that I need it to go? But that's the biggest challenge for me. But I have to, as I'm learning through this journey, man, I got to realize that, hey, such and such might have been successful at 25. Somebody might be successful at 30. I might not see the light at the end of the tunnel until I'm 35. But I gotta keep on going until I get there. But I know that I'll get there as long as I keep going. But I will not get there if I keep stopping the way that I have been. Absolutely. in the past. So I like how you worded that life is a marathon, and that's what I'm working on. I'm not gonna say I'm perfect at it.
We all working on it.
But I'm definitely working on trying to jog instead of trying to sprint to the destination. But I really need to be walking.
Yeah. As long as you're moving.
Yeah.
As long as you're moving.
Absolutely.
And the beauty of it, bro, this is why I say there's no finish line. Because the more faithful you're going to be with what you be given, you're going to be given more.
Absolutely.
Which means I'm going to have to be an even better steward because I'm giving more to me. The guy with 10 talents ended up with 11 when it was all said and done. Yep. You're going to be given more because you've shown and proven I can be trusted with this idea. I can be trusted with this inspired idea that's going to help a lot of people because of what I've done with other stuff in the past. You never stop moving. So when you even get there, it's going to be something else waiting on you. There's going to be another idea waiting on you. There's going to be another opportunity waiting on you because of the work you've done to get to that point. It never stops. Okay. Never stops.
Nick, can I, and if I could slightly pivot here, I got a question for you. You talked earlier about the importance and the value of this young lady you're dating right now. Mm-hmm. What kind of man do you want to be for her?
What type of man would I like to be for my lady right now? So I just want to be a man, and what I mean by being a man is not like what most people think of as like just being like the man or the tough guy. I want to be somebody that she feels like she can be vulnerable with. I want to feel like we can be best friends. I want her to feel just safe with me. I try not to past relationships. I'll get mad. I'll say things I don't mean. I'll go off. But with her, I'm a little bit gentle. Or if I feel like I'm getting angry, instead of talking to her right then, I'm like, babe, I just need a second. I just need time to gather my thoughts, because walking away guarantees that you don't say or do anything that you're going to regret. And even if they get mad in the time that you walk away or don't talk, you can rebound from it. Like yesterday, we got in a little scuffle. It could have got tense if I allowed it to get there.
Verbal scuffle.
Yeah. But I said, hey, I just need a minute. I needed a minute. We didn't talk for the rest of the night. And we woke up this morning, and I went to her and I said, hey, like, we got in the scuffle. She wanted to talk, but I told her, hey, I just need some time. That time ended up translating to this morning. We woke up this morning and I said, hey, babe, like, I didn't feel our conversation going nowhere last night. And instead of me going off on her, instead of me saying something I don't mean, this morning I was able to go to her with a calm mind, with a thoughtful mind, and we was able to talk like two mature people. Like I want to be calm. I want to be calm into my girl. Like I don't want to try to gain her respect with this dominance that most men feel like they have to be with a woman. Like I don't want to be like, hey man, my girl already know what's going on, or hey, my girl listen to whatever I say, or I'm finna go off on my girl. I have learned how to treat my girl like a queen, man. Like the queen that she is, and to be encouraging. Like I told you, I pray for her. I pray for us at night. I pray for us in the morning, and I just make sure that I'm doing my job. And whenever I'm lacking, I can be vulnerable and tell her that, hey, I might not be where I need to be, but I'm trying. And I don't know, man. I've always sucked at relationships. I've always, in my family, my cousins probably don't, but like a lot of men in my family, they're not married. Or, you know, at times in my household, I saw my mom and dad struggle with a relationship. So growing up, it was a struggle to me to know how to treat a woman. I could go on and on about stories about girls. Like most girls I know, they probably don't want nothing to deal with me because I didn't know how to treat a girl. I can be honest, I did not know how to be a man. I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't know simple things like, hey, girls like flowers. Girl, like, it's important that you take your girl out on dates. It's encouraging that you say nice things about your girl. Like, I wasn't romantic at all. I wasn't vulnerable at all. But like, I've taken all of that and brought that in this relationship. Like, I say something kind about my girl every day. I'll tell my girl that I love her, and like I mean it. Like I truly mean it when I say that I love her. And I try to make sure that she feels like that she is a pinpoint in my life. I make sure that she has a clear understanding that with my baby mama, like I have put in a position that my baby mama is going to respect my girlfriend now. I've made sure that my girlfriend knows that there's no I'm so vulnerable now. My girlfriend got the password to my phone because I got nothing to hide, man. I got nothing to hide.
That's a blessing.
I have nothing to hide. I'm not trying to be sneaky. I'm not trying to be anything. And the one time she went through my phone, she said, "Hey, it made my heart warm to know that I went through your phone and nothing was there." And for the first time, and like in the past, had a girl went through my phone, I would have went off. But if I told her at the beginning of the relationship, whatever you need to do to feel like you're safer in a relationship, you can do it. And I don't mind. That's why I'm saying I'm a whole different person now, Ronnie. Like whatever I need to do to her to make sure that she feels important to me and that she has nothing to worry about, she can do it. I'm weak right now, man. I'm in love. But she's a good girl. She's a good girl though. It's not like it's not like she's not like crazy or anything. It's not like she is like, it's just like she has her head on straight. I'm doing better in church because she makes us go to church. Like we're not missing church. We're not going to bed mad at each other. Before we go to bed, like she making sure, like if I don't say, "Hey, we praying that night," she gonna make sure that I pray. And like I just realized that like when you got a good woman, like I always told my brother, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna get married. And he was like, bro, when you find that girl, you'll know. And for the first time in my life, like I just got a good feeling because she brings the best out of me.
What's her background like? You mentioned that the men in your family never became husbands or whatnot. What was her background like?
As far as like
did she come from a family where dad and mom are married or husbands, wives? What was her background?
I mean, her parents are divorced, but her stepdad came into her life at I believe she said at 5 years old, and I met her family, and as far as like, because we have these conversations all the time, like how was your childhood, and I would discuss like, hey, I suffer a lot from childhood trauma, but her background with her family, like they're pretty, like they're pretty solid. She said that she talks to me like her childhood really wasn't that bad. Like she didn't see her mom and stepdad argue a lot, or if they did, like they try to keep it at a minimum and not in front of family, in front of the kids. And a lot of the people in her family, like they're married and things like that. So I think, and like my girl, like she. Luckily for her, she knows how to be treated because she's seen like how her mom's been treated, or she's seen how her aunt's been treated, or she's seen how her cousin. So she puts a lot of expectations on me. Like there's a lot of stuff that like is not flying with her.
That's why I asked that question.
Yeah,
because you're describing someone who came from a stable environment.
Yeah,
is what it sounds like.
Yeah. Basically, I ain't saying for but she came from a way like.
Okay.
Like she came from an environment like where she has this type of expectation. So like me, I never knew nothing about being romantic. She's been around romanticism, so that's the type of stuff that like she expects from me. Like she expects flowers. She expects to be taken out on dates. She expects words of affirmation. And because I love her so much, instead of being like, nah, that ain't what I do, I have taken the time to do these things, and I realized that out of every girl that I've ever talked to, like I get a way better reaction by doing these things.
You basically, the reason why you're responding the way that you are to her is because there's a value she has brought to your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, like I told you, like I respect her. I don't call her out her name, but like I'm not gonna say we've been perfect because me and her.
I hope not.
Me and her.
Y'all be the first.
Me and her are very stubborn. We all like, and me and her have very smart mouths at times. So if I had to say a challenge with us is that we just had to learn how to talk and communicate with each other, and the fact that she's willing to change some of her ways so that we can work, it opened up the doors to realize, hey, if she's taking the time to change, then I can change too. And I think that's important. Like that's important. That's why it's important that you talk to your best friend, that you marry your best friend, because like our relationship is not just sex. It's not just about money. It's like me and her have like a true friendship. Like before I talk about anything, I'm like, bro, like that's my friend. This is somebody that like I can talk to. This is somebody that she can talk to. Like
she's there for you.
Yeah, she's there for me. And like I've never felt like I can be vulnerable with anybody. But like she'll tell you, like Like I'm just vulnerable, and like that's something like that a lot of people can't say.
So when you have been vulnerable to her, has she been very protective of you in those moments?
Yeah, very protective. Like if it's like, if
in other words, you don't regret opening up to her down the road.
I don't regret. I don't regret it, because a lot of times what I found in life is like if you tell somebody things, they'll bring it up later on, like like a weakness.
Right.
And she's never done that to me. Anything that I've told her in confidence or just me being vulnerable, she's never brought it up to attack me like later on. And I think that's for me. I'm an open book. Like I'll talk all day, but the moment I feel like I can't trust you, the book closed and it'll never open up again. But with her, like I just feel like I can be vulnerable. But she's the same way. We have a lot of similarities with how we like to be talked to and how we like to feel like we're like what we say is matters. Like if she says something to me, I told you I'm not a man to say I'm sorry. I tell her I'm sorry. If I mess up and I realize that, hey, I could have handled the situation, I'm going to her maturely and telling her that. If she messes up, she's coming to me and saying, hey, Nick, like, I'm sorry for what I said. I'm sorry if that, and we try to work our way. But that again, that's me not trying to be the male dominant all the time. Like I just think if men realize that you don't have to be dominant to get the best out of your girl, you'll get a better response. Now, if the girl's not for you, then you'll see that very quickly.
Well, to that point, we got some dudes that listen that I know have told me that, dude, I can't be vulnerable with her at all because I can't trust her with that. Yep. What would you say to that?
If you can't be vulnerable with your girl or your wife or whatever, that's a problem, because your wife or your husband, that's supposed to be your safe place. Like that's supposed to be your best friend. You're supposed to be able to tell your friend everything. And I feel like if a man can't be vulnerable, and this is some real stuff. If a man can't be vulnerable to the wife, 9 times out of 10, he gonna find somebody else to be vulnerable to. If your wife not gonna listen, there's somebody out there that will listen to you. There's somebody out there that's gonna make you feel exactly how you want to feel, and that's when we start having cheating and different stuff go on, and that stuff real. That's just how I feel. Like that's a serious problem. You can't really say you in love if you see somebody that you can't be vulnerable with, or if you can't talk to your partner and see why, or come to some type of terms of why I can't be vulnerable to you. Like that's a problem, man. I think that's a serious problem, especially for a man, because we already carry so much on our shoulder. So like the least I should be able to do is go talk to my girl.
Yeah.
And if not, like I said, somebody else will. Or are you just gonna carry that on your shoulder and it's gonna make you more angry and say things and do things that you probably don't mean at the time? So,
Nick, what's your thoughts about premarital counseling?
I think it's important, man. I think it's a different. I think it's a different mindset when you say, "Hey, I'm about to spend the rest of my life with you." Like when you first get with somebody, you go through the little honeymoon stage. It's cool, it's fun, but the wake up every day and say, I choose to love you, to wake up every day and say that you're the one. I think premarital counseling is important because it gives you a thought of thinking about stuff that you probably didn't think about is important.
Absolutely.
So, but if you asked me that 2 years ago, I probably was like, man, why would I go to premarital counseling? Why would I why would I do that? But now that I'm with somebody who I can say is married, like me and my girl, we have talks about that all the time, man. Like, we're past this honeymoon stage. Like, we passed everything of like that, but we talk about, like, before we get married, we need to make sure that we have everything in place so that we can be the best us that we can be.
That's a good. I like your answer there. I would encourage you, if you two are serious, and I think the reason why you're here where you are, and it's funny that you mention your girlfriend as being one of the catalysts for you getting serious about your life, is when you make that shift. because I always talked about how men, generally speaking, men have a more of a short-term plan with the girl than they do a long-term, unless they've been brought up to desire marriage, right? If they come from a family of marriages, right? Generally speaking, dudes just have a short term. Mm-hmm. It's when they encounter a woman that they see the value in. Remember, I talked about this, that makes them recalibrate and see actually a life beyond my short-term goal with her. Yep. That's when the oh shoot sets in, and it's like, I need to get my stuff together because we understand what is expected of us in that role of a husband. Yep. I'm responsible for the whole ship. If it goes down, it's on me. Yep. So let me get my ducks in a row now. This is basically what you're dealing with. Absolutely. You're seeing yourself long term with this woman. You got to get right.
Absolutely.
What I would encourage you is, even before you even shop for a ring, start going to premarital counseling. Not as a protect. I say that to people just in case, especially if things aren't right, they can make whatever decisions without the announcement or walking back announcements. But I say that to you because you think of every life decision you've ever made in life requires some form of education. Mm-hmm. It's funny that marriage is one of the most important decisions, but requires no education. Yeah. Go to school. Yeah. Get in front of someone and talk about the blind spots, and then y'all go home and really do the homework. Because the beauty of it, you can treat yourself like a plane. Planes don't land like helicopters. Yeah, yeah. They line themselves out miles out. Yeah. So they can have a smooth landing. Yeah. And sometimes it still ain't smooth when you land. Yeah, true. But in order to even get that far, you had to line yourself out miles out. You're cities away, and you're lining yourself away, signing yourself up. That's what premarital counseling is. It's allowing you to get aligned perfectly so that when y'all do it, it's a smoother landing than what most people end up doing when they don't go to premarital counseling. Some people just crash. So I would encourage you to do that. What questions you got for us, man, before we get out of here? Concerning whatever.
Hey, I was about to place my tray in the upright position.
So, also weak. This can go to both of y'all because both of y'all are married. What has? I got something. What How do y'all establish? I gotta word this word. How do y'all establish? Not dominance, but being that male figure of the house to where you feel like because we're the man of the house. We're supposed to be the leader of that house. How do you do that without being, making sure that you're not being too harsh or too mean or just trying to be dominant, but at the same, not trying to be dominant, but at the same time, you're trying to be the man of the house. Because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of times it falls on our shoulders. So,
for me, I had to relearn this. For me, it started with grace.
Okay.
Purpose was another one. Self-identity was another one. I talked to you about my therapist asking me, "What do you want?" Mm-hmm. When it came down to the more marriage-oriented things, I had to learn what that was going to look like to be effective. Yeah. So going back to your brilliant point of being educated, that was the thing. But the biggest thing, Nick, for me, I'm not going to speak on all marriages, but for me, was grasping to what I could control and what I couldn't. For years, Nick, I tried to control her because I thought that's what the husband did. Yep. And that was causing friction. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? I pray about this. I spend my time in the Word. I got great dudes like this dreaded dude over here who doesn't mind.
Is that a pun?
Who doesn't mind pouring into me? Keeping that iron sharp or whatnot. I believe in that. If there's a difference of opinion with me and her, and she doesn't believe in that, that's on her. Yeah. The scripture says, as husbands, we gotta wash our women with the Word.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
It ain't. Yeah.
And am I saying we have the perfect marriage? No, not even close. But man, once I started being confident in that and leading that way, the rest handle itself. And it's a thing I've learned about women. Like, it's gonna be hard for a woman to admit that, but they crave that. Yeah. Even if it's to their detriment, if they think it is, they crave that.
Yeah, then they do get a better response.
This is the most I've talked about.
Hold on, Walker.
Spiritual things.
I know you like it, right?
Yeah. I just came off the screen. Got simulated passing me the rock, y'all. Before I answer, your girl is really, you've seen girls in church, right? Mm-hmm. They're Christians. Yeah. They mean well, but they don't have a spiritual backing. Yeah. It sounds like your girl has a spiritual foundation. Is that a fair statement?
It's yeah.
Okay.
Stronger than mine.
But she has you can tell she's for real about what she's trying to do. She ain't perfect, but you can tell there's a foundation there.
Absolutely.
Okay. You've seen women who is shallow. Yep. It goes no further than Sunday. Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. So she's not one of those.
Not one of those.
Okay. So here's what I would say to you. Keep it simple. Fall in love with God. Fall in love with God, and she will trust that relationship wherever you go. Is because she knows you have a connection to him. When you show her I have a connection to God and I'm seeking him, not just for you, I'm seeking it for me. Mm-hmm. When she knows that, she'll follow you. She'll give you grace. Because my wife told me this. I dealt with a porn addiction. And my wife told me, moving forward, I've seen you make changes and I trust the God in you. All through mistakes I've made. But she could see my walk with God. Fall in love with God.
That's deep.
That's so deep.
It is deep.
That's so deep.
It is deep. I mean,
I ain't gotta tell you, you do this and keep your voice at this. No, fall in love with God.
Hey, that's deep, man. I mean, I've realized that the more that I've never talked about God in any relationships. Like I said, I was a Sunday only guy. Yeah, Sunday was the only time that I'm for God, and then whatever I learned in church that Monday or Tuesday is gone. I'm back to being me. But back to what y'all was saying, ever since I have started praying for it, ever since that I've started going back to the scripture, I'm doing it blows my mind. We sitting down discussing the Bible. I've never done it in my talking about Corinthians and being real. What you want to talk about? What I have never done that in my life. So to be with somebody that we are discussing the Bible, helping me understand the Bible, I have gotten a way better response and just energy within the both of us. Mm-hmm. Just dealing with that instead of handling things that my own way. So it was important for you. It was good to hear you say that fall in love with God, because even though I have fallen in love, I feel like I have fallen in love with God, but not how I should be. I'm at the beginning of my journey, not the end of my journey with God. But I definitely agree, man. I definitely agree. Definitely agree with that.
Last question for Nick. Yeah, I'm petty. Do you remember the first date you took your girl on?
Oh God.
The first day I took my girl.
I'm asking for a close friend of mine. You don't have the courage to ask you, so I'm gonna ask on his behalf.
Wait, I don't think that was the same girl.
Okay.
Boom.
All right. Well,
edit this
part out.
No, wait. Was this the picture I sent y'all?
No. I'm asking genuinely. I don't. If you send it to us, I don't remember.
Oh, you asking the first date I took my girl on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Do I remember it? Yeah, absolutely.
Where'd y'all go?
Where did we go? Our first date. Oh, our first date was to North Italia.
Okay.
The Summit.
Did you pick?
Yeah, I picked because before we started this relationship, she was big. She was big on, and we're both big on just planning. I don't always want to ask her what we're doing. She don't always ask me what we're doing. So yeah, man, our very first real date was to North Italia, and it made her happy, man. it made her happy that I thought it through. You know, we went there, and it's kind of consistent, man. We always go out on dates. Sometimes it's through me, sometimes it's to her, but it's not. And that's the thing I like about my girl the most, man. A lot of girls want to be given the world, but they want to give their man just bare minimum. They want to get, and like that, and like I'm not gonna lie, I'm that type of dude. Like I can't do that much to my girl, and I'm getting treated like crap, or I'm getting the bare minimum. Like I'm a Leo, man. I need attention. I need words of affirmation. I like
Leos right here.
Oh snap!
3.
You're July.
There's 2. I'm not. I don't even care. I'm not a Leo though.
Yeah, but but no, I mean, but like
2 men talking about their signs is crazy. Y'all gotta relax.
Also, but she's very good on that. Like I don't always have to be the one to like she'll take me out sometimes. She's like, hey, like I got us tonight. But at the same time, I'm big on doing those things. Like I make sure that I give her flowers. I'm make sure. Man, I done wrote her like 2 or 3 poetry, like just write it on paper and give it to her. I've always been like, I'm always like, man, I gotta do the big things, but I realize that it's the small things that keep a woman happy, and I think that's what I have grown a lot in this relationship. I do the small things like taking the trash out, she don't gotta ask. Taking the dog out, she don't gotta ask. Like, you know, her car cold in the morning, windshield wiper all frozen. When she go out there, it ain't gonna be. I've already cranking her car up so that. It's just the little things, man. Like just learning how to treat my girl like a woman, and that's what I've always struggled with. So yeah, I definitely that was our very first date, North Italia restaurant by the Summit, man.
Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
Talking
You're
about
gonna serve our
God.
community well.
Talking about God, fall in love, and you end with extreme level, elite level pettiness.
I have no further questions.
Thank God.
I'm so weak.
Well, I appreciate you joining us,
Yes,
man.
man. Thanks
I
for
appreciate you
showing
showing
Long
up.
time coming.
Hey,
man.
I thank Ronnie for having me on this show because I have gone off. I'm like, Ronnie, if I'm not good enough to be on the show, just tell me, man. Like just let me know. If I can't help you get a couple of views, just let me know, man. I started taking it personal. Because Ronnie got everybody on the show but me.
Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that
Nah,
anymore.
we good.
Hilarious.
I thank y'all for having me, man. It's been a great talk. It's been a
Blessing
great
was
talk.
ours, man.
Great talk.
Seriously.
Awesome. Well, we hope to have conversations like this in the future again, because I think this is a great opportunity to kind of, you know, it's weird, but it's kind of like you're mentoring in a little bit.
Yep.
You know, just sharing like our experiences and whatnot. So, you know, we'll come up with something creative for this, but this is almost kind of like the kind of like a soft opening of what we expect to do moving forward. But I think this was a good start, man. So thank you guys for checking this out. You already know what to do at THA tipping point, one word, X, YouTube, and IG. I'm Caesar Walker. He's Ronnie Gatrey. The guy behind in the back is Black, and we are the Tipping Point Podcast. Thanks again for your support.